So I've been wanting to enlist into the military since I was in high school, specifically the Army. Like, I come from a family, long line family of people that fought in the military or were in the military, not necessarily fought because not all of them went to war. For the most part, they did go to war, but I come from a military background. So I've always wanted to enlist into the Army. And I used to always go and talk to my one uncle because I don't know. I just had like trust more in him, and he was active duty back in the day when I was inquiring about the Army. So I used to go and talk to him all the time, and he used to be like, yeah, I don't know if you should do this because in the Army, these recruiters will tell you one thing and then you'll end up doing another. So like it discouraged me to an extent, but it was like I still want to do this. Like I don't know what this feeling is, but I still want to enlist in the Army. So I went to him a few times, like talking about this, and he like this was like almost like an every year thing, and he was like, you know, you always say this, but I don't know if the Army is something that you should go into. I really think that you should try out the Air Force. So I looked into the Air Force a little bit, and then I discovered that that's something that I would want to do, but it scared me away a little because they said you have to be like really smart to enlist into the Air Force. My cousin, he ended up enlisting into the Air Force. He was the first person in our family to enlist into the Air Force. And my family, they did not like that for him. They did not like that for him because he's a gay man. And my family, they have strict views of homosexuality. But, that's besides the point. So I went a long time not enlisting, just always having that thought in the back of my mind. I went and talked to recruiters, and then I would back out because I would think about like what my uncle was telling me. And then like we had entered into serious war times, and like that made me nervous. But now that I'm 36, I have a clear mind. And this is just all me. Like I no longer want other people to have an influence over my life. So what did I do? I said, forget this. I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to enlist into the Army. Now is the time. I feel better about myself. I feel great. I feel confident. I feel positive. So I went up into that office. Okay, so went in there and I sat down with somebody. And no. Let me back up a little bit because I there's a point in me making this video, okay? So I went to the Air Force office first. I called them, I emailed them, I texted them. Didn't get anything back until like 3 weeks later. And by that time, I had already got in contact with somebody from the Army. I had called them. Dude picked up on like the third ring or something like that. And I had got in the office. The first day that he had set and the first appointment that he had set with me, I came in there. I showed up on time. And then I showed up at the office and they're like, who are you here to see? And I let them know my recruiter name. And it was like, oh, he's not in here yet. That was the first red flag. I didn't think anything of it. I just let it slide like, maybe I got the times wrong because I came in there early. I came in there at 10 a.m. because he let me know that that's when they're open. I did not know that he was not coming in at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. He was coming in at 12 noon. All right. So I sat down and talked to somebody. He just gave me like the basic of like the comparison of the National Guard and reserves opposed to active duty. And, he answered a lot of my questions, let me know like the benefits, the tuition assistance, all of that good stuff. All right. So I left out and I'm like, cool. He was like, I'm gonna let your recruiter know that you were in here. My recruiter, he texted me or called me like later that day and he was like, yeah, I didn't know that you had came in here early, da da da. And I was like, yeah, dude got me squared away with the information that I needed. All right. So then I had to go back into the office to meet with my recruiter, and I actually met with him. And he just like asked me like a series of questions. I think with him, I did like a practice ASVAB test. No, I did not do my practice ASVAB with him. I did it with the first guy. But I had went in there and talked to my recruiter. He had asked me a series of questions. Then he had got me set up for the ASVAB test. Went and did the ASVAB. Well, he let me know what to expect from the ASVAB. He like kept it all the way 100 with me. Let me know what to expect from the ASVAB. I went in there, passed the ASVAB by the skin of my teeth, and then I immediately let him know, like, hey, I just passed the ASVAB. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool then. And he was like, all right, we're going to get you set up for MEPS. This is where like the games began. And I don't know if this was like intentional or if this is just dysfunctional business practice. I don't know. But I had gave all of my paperwork, everything that was needed from my recruiter. I gave all of that stuff to him. All right. So it shouldn't have been nothing for him to get me into MEPS because he had everything he had needed from me. So he had set me an appointment to go to the MEPS. He set me an appointment. I showed up at the hotel because you have to stay at the hotel overnight. At least that's what I thought. He set me up at that hotel. I went in there. They said they didn't have my name on the list. So I called him. I couldn't get a hold of him because he had went out for surgery. I did not know that he had went out for surgery. I had to call his sergeant. Couldn't get a hold of his sergeant either to let them know, like, hey, I'm having this issue happen right here up at MEPS. So my recruiter ends up calling me back. He calls me back within like 10 minutes of me sitting outside waiting. And he was like, that was not supposed to happen. Let me figure out what's going on. And I'm going to call you back. So he figures out what's going on. He gives me a call back. And he was like, hey, they did not have your name on the list. There was a word that he used. I can't think of the word right now. But he was like, just go home and we're going to get this squared away come Monday. Monday comes. I didn't hear anything from him, but I did hear something back Wednesday. He was like, yeah, that was a mess up on our end. I'm going to get you rescheduled, but I'm still out because of a shoulder surgery that I had. Cool. All right, fine. I just want to get into MEPS. So he was like, here's some dates, select from these dates, which works for you. And I gave him a date that worked for me. And he was like, all right, we're going to get you into MEPS this time. You shouldn't have any issues. Second time, I go up to MEPS. Well, I go to the hotel. And I was like, hopefully we got everything squared away this time because now a month and a half time has passed. So everything should be squared away. No, it wasn't. I went up there, gave them my last name, and they said, you're still not in the system. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, am I getting signs like this isn't it? But I wasn't going to take that for an answer. I gave my recruiter a call, and I'm like, they still don't have my name in here. Like, what's going on? He was like, this is just really unacceptable. Everything should have been squared away on your end, but I'm going to talk to somebody else. He was like, I'm going to project you to go to MEPS. So we're going to cut out. We're not going to wait on anybody else. I'm going to project you. By this time, it's at the end of the year. So he was like, give me a call at the beginning of the year and you let me know what you want to do, what date you want to set. And I'm thinking like, there's just way too many inconsistencies going on. So I got on TikTok, interestingly enough, and I end up meeting a recruiter. She's a female, not to be sexist or anything, but she was a female. And she was able to pull up jobs because my recruiter told me that he couldn't see any of my jobs. So how could a lady that's not working with me at all, be able to pull up jobs just for me giving her my information? She was like, oh yeah, I see this in your area, this. So I'm like what the heck? Like that let me know everything that I needed to know. So I started communicating with her. She ends up putting me on with a recruiter that's closer to my area. He's in Orlando. Within 2 weeks of me talking to him, I was in MEPS. I didn't have to stay at the hotel overnight or any of that. He was like, yeah, you're scheduled to go to MEPS this day, and let me know how it goes. So I was like, cool. I got to stay home. I just had to wake up early, but that didn't bother me at all. And I got MEPS out of the way. So I'm like, how is this dude able to get me into MEPS within 2 weeks of me just sending over my information, refilling out paperwork? But my recruiter that's 10 minutes up the street from me had such a hard time. Like, it took me several months. Mind you guys, I started my process of enlisting into the Army last July. It is now the end of February. Like, we have 2 more days left in February. It's the end of February and I still have not enlisted into the military. But I would say that my new recruiter, he has done an amazing job. Right now, it's really on my end. He was waiting to hear back because I had some issues in my previous state that they just wanted to get cleared. They just wanted to know what had happened. But it's been hard to get in contact with them. So he was like, I see that there was like really nothing that, like, you don't have any legal issues or you don't have any felonies, any misdemeanors or nothing like that. He was like, so I'm just going to take care of this myself. And now this week, I'm just waiting to hear back from him for him to let me know my swearing date. And he's going to go over some jobs with me. Now, I guess like you typically get the jobs like earlier on, like after you pass your ASVAB. I did not have that process. Like, I say all of that to say this. If you're looking to enlist into the military, you need to vet your recruiters because some recruiters are just there. Some recruiters are maybe new at it and they don't really know the whole process, but they're putting on to make you believe like they know what's going on, that they know what they're doing. And, you know, there's some people that just take their job seriously. And then there's others that don't take their job seriously. And this is just not a recruiter thing. That's what you're going to see throughout life, like dealing with bosses, dealing with coworkers, dealing with business owners, you know, et cetera, et cetera. This is just like how some people are. But I don't know. It could be a Tampa thing because it's just so lackadaisical down here. I really don't understand what the situation was. But I got a phone call. No, I got a text message last week from my old recruiter. Mind you, I haven't spoken to him since last year. I haven't spoken to that guy since last year. And he was like, just checking on you. And he was like, yeah, I'm still working on your paperwork. Still working on my paperwork. I did MEPS last month. Like, in and out of MEPS. Within 2 weeks of meeting my new recruiter, I was able to go to MEPS. So I had text him back. I was like, I already did MEPS. And he was like, oh, you're switching up on me? I wouldn't say I'm switching up, but I'm serious about what it is that I want to do. I'm serious about my enlistment. And here's another thing, like, not to be too hard on recruiters. A lot of people do go into these military offices and they don't know what they want to do. They don't have their mind made up. So I'm pretty sure that they're used to people backing out on them. Like, they put in all of their time and energy into getting these paperwork filed and sending your paperwork off and getting you appointments set up for people to back out. That was not me. At 36 years old, I know what I want. Maybe if I were younger, because I did do this when I was younger, like go in, talk to them, sit down and all of this, but I never got past the ASVAB process. I never took that ASVAB test, and it was because I'm just not good at taking tests. But, you know, not to take it too hard on them, but I feel like with me working with my recruiter, he should have known, like, I'm dead serious about this. Like, I'm not playing around with you. Like, this is something that I want to do. This is something I know that I want to do. Or maybe it could be he's met his quota. I don't know. So if any of you that are watching this have had any run-ins with recruiters and went through the same situation, let me know. I posted something similar on my TikTok, and there's people that were like, they got it right on the first try. Their first recruiter, you know, was great. There was no hiccups or any of that. And then there's some people that are like, no, you got to watch recruiters. Like, not all of them are there to really want to do their jobs. I don't know. Even if you are a recruiter, let me know, like, what is that? Like, why do some recruiters not take you seriously? And then there's other recruiters that are strictly about business. Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you're somebody who is currently enlisted or a veteran, drop some advice, some words of encouragement for anybody who is looking to enlist into the military as well. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.